torn by war and inequality, emerged and goals, and goals resonate in history forever. Lenin, revolutionary leader and architect of a new political order, challenged established norms and changed the course of the history. In this documentary, we will explore the life, ideas, and legacy of the Vladimir Lenin, from his humble beginnings to his pivotal role in the Russian Revolution and beyond. Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov, known as Lenin, was born in Simbirsk, Russia. In 1817, he came from a middle-class family and studied at Kazan University. During his university years, he became involved in socialist movement and quickly adopted Marxism and his social political ideology. Lenin emerged as a leader of the radical wing of the Russia Social Democratic Labor Party. In 1903, the party split in two factions: the Bolshevik, led by Lenin, and the Mensheviks. Lenin advocated for immediate revolution and the seizure of power by the proletariat, in contrast to the more moderate stance of the Mensheviks. In 1917, Lenin, who had been living in exile, returned to Russia following the February Revolution, with other two Tsar Nicholas II, and established a provisional government. Lenin hardship said this provisional government and launched his family slogan, "All power to the Sovietics." In October 1917, according to the Julian calendar used in Russia at the time, corresponded to November in the Gregorian calendar. The Bolsheviks, led by Lenin, carried out the countdown as the October Revolution. During this event, Bolshevik forces seized hit points in Petrograd, including the Winter Palace, the seat of the provisional government. This marked the beginning of the communist regime in Russia. Following the October Revolution, Lenin consolidated his power and established the communist government. The Bolsheviks' takeover led to a prolonged civil war between the Reds and the Whites. Eventually, the Bolsheviks prevailed, and in 1922, the United Soviet Socialist Republic was formed with Lenin as its leader. Lenin was instrumental in creating and solving the communist regime in Russia. His ideas and actions laid the groundwork for the political and economic system that characterized the Soviet Union until his death in 1924.
И данная Третья русская революция должна будет в своем конечном итоге привести к победе социализма.
After the October Revolution of 1917, the new Bolshevik government faced to rebuild a devastated economy by the years of war. Initially, Lenin and the Bolsheviks implement a new policy known as war communism, which quickly tried to establish the principles of socialism. This involved the forced confiscation of agricultural products to supply the cities, the abolition of money and private trade, the nationalization of industry and the means of production. However, these measures had disastrous consequences, causing a sharp decline in agricultural and industrial production, as well as a general problem of consumer goods that severely affected the population. Before the breakdown of communism and growing discontent, Lenin in 1921 decided to abandon this policy and adopt a new orientation known as the New Economic Policy (NEP), which reintroduced elements of market economy. This involved the return to use money, the reactivation of private trade, and the coexistence to state and private companies. The objectives of the new economic policy were to rebuild the economy after the destruction of the Civil War, ensured the support of farmers for the Soviet regime, and increased production to supply the population. Although the economy recovered in a moderate way during this period, problems of inequality and acts of good persisted. However, Lenin saw this new economic policy as a temporary and preparatory measure for a future large-scale socialist industrialization. In fact, shortly after his death in 1924, Lenin's successor, Joseph Stalin, promoted a drastic agrarian collectivization and industrialization that putting the end of new economic policies established by Lenin.
Lenin's political vision was based on Marxism-Leninism and aimed to establish a socialist system in the USSR. Lenin believed in the need for a revolution led by the proletariat to overthrow the capitalist system and establish a government of the workers. His political vision focused on the importance of the revolutionary as the vanguard of the proletariat and the necessity of class struggle to achieve social transformation. All in all, Lenin advocated for the nationalization of industry and growth, as well as centralized economic planning. His political vision also included the promotion of education, health, and social welfare for the population. However, it is important to consider that Lenin's policies and actions generate controversy and criticisms around the world. During his government, which took place between 1917 and 1924, the revolutionary leader implemented reforms that changed the course of Russia in the 20th century. In particular, the expropriation of ground from the nobility to distribute it to country persons, aiming for a fair distribution of ground. Lenin also universalized education and legislated in favor of the proletariat, offering them an 8-hour workday along with a stable pension system. The main political ideals of Lenin, based on Marxism and Leninism, pretend to establish a socialist system in the USSR. Also, he believed in the need for a revolution led by the proletariat to overthrow the capitalist system and establish a government of the workers. It's for this that his political vision was focused on the importance of the revolutionary policies and the necessity of class struggle to achieve social transformation. Finally, Lenin advocated for the nationalization of industry and growth, as well as centralized economic planning. Although his policies generate controversy, Lenin assured the groundwork for the socialist system in the USSR.
The impact of Vladimir Lenin on Soviet society was devastating from various perspectives. Following the October Revolution of 1917, Lenin spearheaded the transformation of the country into a communist regime advocating for a government by and for the workers. His rise to power marked the beginning of a period of radical changes in Russia's social, economic, and political structure. Lenin sought to eliminate socioeconomic inequalities by nationalizing industry and redistributing land in favor of the peasants. This agrarian redistribution was particularly significant as it granted land to the peasants who were previously subject to landowners. To maintain power, Lenin adopted various strategies, some of which reflect an authoritarian approach. During the Russian Civil War from 1917 until 1922, the Bolshevik government, led by Lenin, implemented the repressive measures to suppress the opponents and consolidate control over the country. This included the establishment of the Cheka, the secret police tasked with suppressing political dissent and maintaining internal stability. Additionally, Lenin used the propaganda to promote communist ideology and legitimize his government to the population, presenting himself as the champion of workers and despots. Another key aspect in Lenin's consolidation of power was his ability to forget strategic alliance and maintain support from different sectors of society. Despite his radical policies, Lenin saw allies among both peasants, workers, and soldiers, a feeling of their shared interests and offering political concessions when necessary. Furthermore, Lenin displayed a pragmatic disposition by implementing the new economic policy or NEP in 1921, which allowed for some economic liberalization to revitalize the economy after the devastation caused by the Civil War. In summary, Lenin's impact of the political society and economy for the Soviet Union marked the starting point for a series of changes within the region and the world. He aimed for a communist focused in equal opportunities for all, with the direct imposition of an authoritarian regime.